You're listening to World of Empowerment Radio, your station for practical spirituality in a changing world. And here are your hosts, Aingeal Rose Ahonu.
Hi, this is Ahonu, and I'm down here at Pioneer Park in Bend, and I'm on my own because unfortunately Aingeal Rose is unwell and unable to join me today. But she's very aware of the reason that we're here, and the reason that we're here is all part of this dark night of the soul that she went through in January and continues even to this day. And we're trying to use every incident that happens in our lives to understand deeper and deeper what's going on. And we're seeing this great thread that's happening. So this particular location here in Pioneer Park in Bend has its own interesting qualities. So let's take a look at them here for a second. I'm sitting outside here on our last few days at this little B&B that we're at, which is leading up to our farewell to Bend in Oregon. Because we've left our home, we've packed up all our goods, some things are in storage, most is sold. But it leads me to outline a very interesting development that has taken place with regard to the whole issue of surrender. And Aingeal Rose has talked about surrender in the past, where after going through her dark night of the soul in January, for example, and subsequently running various workshops called Experiencing the Dimensional Split, we find ourselves in that exact same position as a lot of our students are in, and that is a hopeless future. Now, once we leave this little apartment here, we don't know where we're going, and that's imminent. And that's why I'm talking to you about surrender and also farewell Bend. But it's very interesting that we should be in this particular location because we are at the bend in the river from which the pioneers crossed in the 1800s on their way west. And they did this because this was the only shallow crossing in the river from where they could ford the river comfortably with their wagons. And looking back, they said, farewell Bend. Farewell Bend, they called it. And it's appropriate that we should be spending our last few days and few nights at this particular point. Now, it's interesting to notice that the river is now deeper simply because they've built a dam a little bit downriver. And the dam is causing the water upriver, obviously, to rise and to cause a little depth, and thereby causing the water to flow more slowly. Now, you may notice that it's raining right here, and you'll also hear thunder in the background. And this is all part of the symbology that we're watching that's going on with ourselves here. I'm going to step inside because it's getting a bit wild and noisy with the thunder. So I'll pick this up again in just a few moments. Wow. I'll be back. So I'm inside now, and I'm sorry about the disruption. You can see the rain on my glasses. I'm looking at actually hailstones outside, and still we have this chaotic kind of weather going on all over the country. But aside from that, what I wanted to talk about was the slow-moving river right at the crossing of what we are now calling Farewell Bend, or what's been known for a long time as Farewell Bend. And as I walked down the river, I began to notice the reason for the depth of the river in that particular spot, and the reason why it was slow moving, was because of the dam. Now, we look at everything symbolically. Aingeal Rose and I, we see the deeper meaning in all of these kinds of things. But I was rather struck as to why we were located in this particular location for our farewell to Bend, really, and also the slow-moving river and the dam. And dam has two connotations, as you know, D-A-M for the dam on a river, and D-A-M-N for being damned. So I'm looking at this and saying, what is this all about in relation to what's going on in our lives and what's going on in our service to others? And we realized that we were rather stuck and dammed up and blocked up and prevented from flowing freely. And once I walked past that dam and got over the turbulence and realized that there was a great danger at that dam, because there were signs there that showed how you could drown very easily by getting caught in a kind of a circular loop underneath the rotation of the water as it came off the dam. And then, of course, it flowed on into a lot of rapids, and you could see the rocks, a lot of rocks, and the river was really being buffeted and pushed and going around the rocks, and a rather treacherous stretch of water. And in terms of the similarity to our lives, this feels what we're going through, and it feels, from speaking with so many other people around the world also, it feels that many people are going through very difficult times, very treacherous waters, very rapids, ups and downs, and avoiding rocks and all that kind of thing. Now, as I continue to walk down the path at the side of the river, you may hear some more thunder and lightning going on outside, so let's hope we can stay connected okay. But as I continued to walk down, I realized that this is exactly what life is like. But the river then moved on into a slower stretch with not so much rapids, but also into a more scenic area. And it was wooded, and it looked very peaceful, and there was a gentleman fishing there from the edge. But also I noticed a bridge across the river. And that struck me then as all the treacherous nature of the rapids can easily be crossed by building a bridge. And this is what we're looking for when we call surrender. We're looking at a bridge to cross over all these difficulties in our lives. And that's what we're looking forward to, and that's what we're placing our trust in. So that wraps up what I wanted to talk about in this little session here, where we're talking about Farewell Bend on a number of different levels. I hope it's been some help to you, and I know that many people have asked us to report on how we're getting on, so perhaps next week we'll have a little bit of an update for you as to how things turn out. So until then, blessings from myself, Ahonu, and from Aingeal Rose.
You have been listening to Aingeal Rose and Ahonu on World of Empowerment Radio, your station for practical spirituality in a changing world.